not a god. You are simply bad product.
Muchas gracias.
First of all, we are so excited to have you here. It is amazing, and it's also very scary because you know how to be a villain. Is this something that at one point in your life you said, okay, I'm gonna be a villain again, you know?
I'm a villain in my life. I am a bad guy. I watched movies when I was a young boy, and one of the movies I saw was a movie called Public Enemy with James Cagney. And I realized from sitting in the theater that the audience responded to this very strong, forceful personality who controlled the chaos. And I realized I wanted to do that too. Acting portrays what you call a villain, but is also someone who has the courage to stand up and meet their life head on. So I love playing the villain.
Okay, so I'm gonna ask you one question per each series that I love where you participated, and then we're gonna throw it over to the fans.
Perfecto.
Okay, so first series I'm gonna talk about is Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul. It's so amazing to see you there. It's, I feel that people loved the villain of Gus Fring because he was so put together, so calm, and even as a manager, he was like a very good manager of a restaurant. But what I thought after watching the whole series is that in the end there's like a love story really, which Gus Fring is just being vengeful, like taking his revenge, and he takes his time doing it. So there's a lot of power, like human, real emotion behind that calculating villain. Can you tell us a little bit about what you think about Gus Fring and how you played him and how all of these different layers come into play?
I think for me, Gus Fring became a very complicated character because he was well thought out. And yes, he had revenge on his mind for something that was done to him, and a gift and a dream that was taken away from him. He also had a vision for how the business could run, and he knew that he could do it better. He also had a moral compass, believe it or not, within his own life. And so he was very comported, very calm, very relaxed, but very diligent about the way he led his life. So I was inspired by something that Vince Gilligan wrote in a stage direction called Hiding in Plain Sight. He was someone that appeared to be one human being, but was actually a compilation of many human beings.
Now I'm gonna ask you a question. I'm a super big Batman fan, and I don't know if you were expecting this question, but I love the Harley Quinn animated series, and you're Lex Luthor. And I was like watching it, and your voice was there, and this guy, and he actually kind of looks like you know, and I was like, oh my God, my favorite actor is here. So I wanted to know what that was like, because obviously I know that you're a voice actor as well, and it must be a very different experience, because you can't like use your face or anything. So what was that experience like?
I love playing Lex Luthor because I feel like I play, I have a part of the typical Lex Luthor, but then I play him a little bit differently. And voice acting is a favorite of mine because you use something that maybe we've let go of because we have our iPhone and our computer and our television. We lose our imagination. Part of our life should be guided by our imagination. What you dream can come true if you imagine it and take steps every day to get it. Smart as Gustavo Fring. He's a little awkward and he's a little bit funny. And I wouldn't love Lex Luthor as much if I didn't love Harley Quinn.
Okay. Ay, my God. Hay alguien grabó eso. Bueno.
I love Harley Quinn.
Right?
She's badass.
She's amazing. I love her so much. La siguiente pregunta, the next question I want to ask is about Stan Edgar from The Boys, right? Stan Edgar, director of Bot International, well, now disgraced, right? My question about this series is a two-part question. First is like, this series does not back down. Like, they show all the gore. You're not in many scenes that show all the gore, but what do you think about that? How do you feel about that? Do you like it? Like the effects? Because they are amazing. Like, a guy came out of a penis. It was amazing. And second part of the question is, in the case of Stan Edgar, do you think that's the last we will see of him?
I love The Boys because it is an imaginative series. It's a series that takes a lot of chances and gets away with it. The writer of that series, Eric Kripke, I've worked with before on Revolution. So when he happened to run into me at a studio in Toronto and asked me if I would do this, I said yes. It's funny, the episode you speak of, that first episode in the third season,
yeah.
I was sitting and watching that, and Stan Edgar was on hiatus,
yeah.
And I was watching it with one of my daughters, and we took a break for a minute because she had to go to the bathroom. She came back out of the bathroom, and I was texting on my phone, and she said, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm texting Eric Kripke, the showrunner and writer and creator of the show." She said, "What are you saying?" "I'm saying I want back in."
Excellent.
You are not a god. You are simply bad product.
Next question is about Kaleidoscope, which is a series that you did for Netflix. And I thought that was really interesting because the story is, it jumps around in time. You can watch it like in one order, a different order, like people choose, like a choose your own adventure kind of thing, right? Was it really strange to kind of like work on that script because it was just jumping, like the character development? Was it a little bit weird to do, or did you like record it like in a certain, tape it in like a certain order?
It was a challenge to do, but it was a story I really love. I feel like television audiences are much smarter than ever. And to have a story that went through 8 episodes, I spanned 27 years from young to old, which was also interesting. And yes, to be able to do it all at once, we did 2 episodes at a time of 2 different colors. All the episodes are color coordinated, not numbers. And so I laid them all out on a table to refer to them all at one time so I could bring that character to life. I am very proud of Kaleidoscope, and those of you who haven't seen it should see it more than once.
Okay, last question from me is about Moff Gideon from The Mandalorian. Basically, my question regarding Moff Gideon is, if all the prior series that I just mentioned are not like enough, like this cements you like in pop culture in a way that, and it keeps growing because you're also going to be Baxter Stockman on Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, so that's amazing as well. Like, has it been for you as an actor like a switch to go from an actor, which is amazing, that has done like arguably the best series ever, because Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul are both regarded like top TV, to go into the Star Wars world? Did you feel there was a difference?
Yes, you have something I want. Bring me the child. That one. It was a very big difference to transform into a character that I knew was larger than life. I wanted to bring human qualities to him, but I knew he was a straight up villain. What I love about him is that he was qualified. He was qualified, he flew his own TIE fighter, he was able to use the dark saber, no one knew why. Assume I know everything. He knew everything about the timing of what was going on within his galaxy. He's very, very smart, very calculated, and very full of himself. So, I love playing him because I knew he was another level of human being, villainous human being, that I could play with and really add some nuance to.
We're gonna have questions from the audience now. Okay, so basically, first he said, we love you, thank you for coming, and we hope you come again. And another thing he asks, it's a two-part question, but we can put it into one. It's like, will we ever see you in a DC Comics movie or in a Marvel Comics movie? And he mentions Professor X as a possible role that you will play.
Firstly, gracias to you, Bogota, Colombia. Gracias. You have my heart.
Que tienen su corazón.
You are beautiful people.
Son personas hermosas.
I feel we are energy as human beings, right? We are energy through our eyes, we're energy through our hearts, we're energy through our words and what we say to each other. And you have welcomed me in the most beautiful way. Fan casting has asked that the possibility of me playing Professor X. And it blew up on the internet. And of course, Marvel knows about it. They're not ready to make that film yet, so it is possible. Will I ever one day be in a Marvel film? I will.
Bueno, no, una primicia aquí básicamente.
Hello there. Hello there.
Oh, hola.
I have a question for you. What is the difference between performing Stan Edgar and Moff Gideon? What are the challenges at the moment to performing these two important characters to your career and to all of us?
They're two different people, number one. Stan Edgar is a company man. He's dealing with superheroes who have human emotions, many of whom think that the company is a superhero company, but it really is a medical company. It's a pharmaceutical company. And many corporations are about money. Stan Edgar represents that corporation. He's the face of the corporation. Moff Gideon has a deeper desire because he grew up in a galaxy that we don't know. He grew up in a galaxy that's falling apart, much like our Earth right now. So he feels the effort and need to stand up and lead. You cannot lead unless you can follow. Then you can be a true leader. But to be a true leader, you must be about the people, not about yourself.
Okay, the second thing she said is that all Colombia wants to give you a warm welcome. We are following all your series and we're big fans and we love you.
Gracias, Colombia.
And the other question is, which character, fictional or non-fictional, would you like to play that you haven't had the chance to yet?
There are so many different historical characters I'd like to play because they would allow us to see our past history so that we don't repeat past mistakes. So Pushkin, an interracial poet from Russia, is one. Toussaint Louverture is another, historically. But what I really want to play more of, and you will see it this year in Parish, the show I did for AMC, you saw it a little bit in Kaleidoscope, is the everyman. I want to represent the people and play characters that the people can relate to. Characters who are on the fringe, trying to realize their dream, falling short every day, but then finding their courage and their strength to find their vision and standing up. Because more and more we need to see characters that are a lot like you and I, all of you, so that we know that we can succeed in the world that we've created for ourselves.
Okay, so what's the thing that most I guess maybe impacted you or moved you about Gustavo Fring's story when you had to go back to do Better Call Saul?
What I loved the most was to create a Gustavo who was different than the Gustavo in Breaking Bad. And that was to create someone who was not as confident, not as sure of himself, not quite the leader that you saw in Breaking Bad, which meant he had to be more vulnerable. He had to tap into his vulnerability. And certainly when Lalo Salamanca came to threaten him, we love Tony Dalton, yeah. We didn't know whether Gustavo would survive or not if we hadn't seen Breaking Bad. So I'm always interested in doing something new with a character, even if it's a character that I've revived. So for me, it was to feel a man who was unsure of himself and gaining his security as we see him grow through the series.
So we all love Gus. I think you love Gus too. So how did you feel when you found out they were going to kill Gus?
It was a challenge to me because, you know, death is a new life. So I wanted to just discuss how Gus would die. And it turned out to be the most fantastic death of all time.
So yeah, he comes out of the room and he's fixing his tie. It's such a good touch.
Now, Mr. Esposito, first, thank you for being here in Colombia. It's a long flight from Niagara Falls, and I appreciate very much that. So the question is the next one. It's been a long theory conspiracies about the death of Moff Gideon. So we're gonna ask here, is Moff Gideon alive because the bear scar probably saves him?
You don't see him die.
Exactly.
So it's very possible he's still alive.
Bueno, queremos agradecerle en serio con un fuerte.
Gracias, Colombia.
Giancarlo Esposito.
I love you. Thank you for having me.